Hey there, so I'm in the process of remodeling a room in our basement here. This is a concrete foundation, had carpet in this room. I've since pulled that up. Still got some pad remnants that we're gonna remove. But the big thing here is we've got these wood tack strips that were used to hold the carpet in place. And we're gonna get rid of those because we're gonna be moving to a laminate flooring. So we're gonna look at a few tips and tricks on how best to remove these tack strips when they're nailed into concrete. So tack strips are essentially, as their name implies, they've got these little tacks that protrude up and are used to hold the carpet tight up against the walls here. And with tack strips, they're usually embedded with nails placed every few inches. And those are the things that we're going to be dealing with here.
The tack strips themselves come up relatively easy. I just got a flat pry bar, I just tap it with a hammer and I'm able to pry up the wood strips. But this is where the issue lies. I've got the tack strip here in my hand and I can see I've got a hole left from the nail that's still sitting in the concrete. So I'm going to show you 3 simple ways to get rid of these nails from the concrete and get the flooring ready for the next stage. And before we hop into the first option, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're looking for more DIY tips and projects that are going to save you money around the house.
So the first method we're going to look at is with just a hammer, the claw end. I'm just going to slide it under and use some brute force to kind of pull it up. You can see here, there's concrete still attached to the nail. And what that means is now we've got a bit of a divot or a dimple here in the concrete. And overall, that indentation there may not be a huge deal long term because we are going to have some wall board or trim boards that are going to probably cover at least half of that. But for me, I don't want to take any risk here that over time that indentation starts to show through the laminate.
Our next option is using a rotary tool such as a Dremel. I've equipped mine with a little cutoff disc that's intended for metal.
So anytime we're talking about cutting metal, definitely important to take the necessary safety precautions. Safety glasses are a must. You're going to have little shards of metal potentially flying in the air, and then some sort of gloves are good for that hand protection. Again, there's going to be hot metal probably flying around, and so anything you can do to add a little bit of protection will help.
And I've set my Dremel to a higher speed here, and now I'm just turning it on. My goal here is to not have any protruding nail above the surface of the concrete once the cutting is complete. And seeing the sparks flying should be a good reminder to keep those safety glasses on. It's important just to let the blade do the work here. Don't try to put force on it or you could shatter the wheel. And here's a closer look showing that we're flush with the surface of the concrete. And the one thing with the Dremel is it does take a little bit of time for each nail, about 20 seconds to cut through it. Now here is my favorite option. It's my 4-inch angle grinder. I've used this on several projects to cut off nails in concrete. I've got a metal cutoff disc installed. And while it's very similar concept to the Dremel, this thing just has a lot more power behind it. And we'll see here, it's gonna just cut through these nails like butter. And with this option, it's also still very important to wear those safety glasses and gloves, and also to keep your shroud covering on the angle grinder so that it will minimize the chance of shards flying at you, and also if the disc happens to break, it'll protect you against that. And just like the Dremel, the angle grinder will cut those nails flush to the concrete, but in just a fraction of the time. I was able just to go around the perimeter of this room. Only took me a few minutes to chop down several dozen of these nails that were sticking up from the concrete. And again, a big advantage of cutting the nails off is that you're not damaging the concrete like you would be if you were trying to pull them out with a hammer or a claw bar.
So this angle grinder with cutoff wheel made super quick work of those nails. It took me no more than 3 minutes to go through the whole perimeter of the room. Otherwise, if you've just got a few nails to go through and you've got a Dremel, that works. And again, you can always use the hammer, make a few indents potentially in the concrete.
And after all is said and done, I'm able just to sweep away the nail heads, clean up, and move on to the next stage of the project. And if you want to see the final result of this room, please consider liking and subscribing. I've got a playlist that shows the whole renovation process. See you next time.